So I just recorded like a 20-30 minute video on my iPhone, and I literally just recorded the bottom half of my face. So you just like looking at my beard half the time. Just content fun, I guess. I'm sure everybody has this issue, but yeah, I guess 0.5 is probably better for filming like this. Yeah, I don't know whether to film on the front camera or the back camera. I feel like everyone I speak to about that is also confused, because front camera's like obviously like not as nice quality, but it's much easier because you can see yourself, and then not so much like because I want to look good, but just so I can make myself in the frame basically. Because I find myself when I film with the back camera, I'll often do this, drop my hand, because I got the iPhone Pro Max, and after a while, after 20-30 minutes of holding it up, your arm gets a little bit tired. So I always end up dropping it, which is kind of a problem, but I'm trying to just vlog more everyday stuff, get used to talking to the camera. I was thinking about getting a GoPro or something like that, because I guess that would be super wide and like nice to hold out, because it weighs nothing, right? But then just adds complexity, man. That was what my 20-minute video was about selling something and not getting hung up on like exactly the 0.1% parts. I was looking through a landing page of mine earlier, and it was basically like I was showing it to somebody, and they were saying, hey, you need to make this text a little bit bigger, and all the quiet image and this and that. And I was trying to sort of explain to them, somebody who doesn't do landing pages and doesn't work in marketing, which is, by the way, like a great perspective to get, because basically you want to take it to your least technical customer. I find a really good test. It's like if somebody who isn't super technical or doesn't work in marketing gets your landing page, what it's about and what you're selling, then that's a really important thing, because I find myself overcomplicating things a lot, especially when I make landing pages, and like putting it down almost like it's in my head, you know what I mean? Like speaking to me, somebody who has almost 10 years experience in marketing and Google Ads, so it's like, yeah, it just doesn't really work, because then when people look at the page, they don't understand what it is, and I've had that so much where I've worked so hard on stuff. I remember when I first started my group as well, it was like that. And I worked so hard on the group for so long, but literally everyone was saying, hey, is it this? Is it that? Is it, is it a mastermind? Is it to do with Google Ads? Is it to do with LinkedIn? Is it, that was the best example actually. When I started the group, I did some like calls to like tell people what it was and, catch up with people and just kind of like spread the word basically. One of the main things people would say is, oh, so it does LinkedIn as well. It does personal branding as well. It does about, getting leads through LinkedIn and clients through LinkedIn, which is like a big part of being a Google Ads freelancer, Google Ads specialist nowadays, right? Even if you work at an agency, getting clients, it's basically your website, your LinkedIn, right? It's your landing page. So that's something I cover a lot during the course content in the members area, and also in the mastermind group around like the Q&As, and a lot of the masterclasses we run are also around LinkedIn. So it's not just Google Ads, it's not just like technical stuff, which is what people got from the landing page. So it's a great example of like, in my head, it was just very clear that it was about all these different things, but actually when I put it down on paper, like it didn't make sense because I didn't get other people to read it. I just put it out and thought, oh, that's great. And I think that's the first thought you have a lot. And it is important to get it out there for sure. And definitely don't overcomplicate it. But I think the best way to not overcomplicate it is actually share it with somebody, to, ask somebody who doesn't work in what you do, doesn't do what you do, to say, hey, look at this landing page, skim through it. And it doesn't matter so much about the little details and the little, this word or that word, but skim through it, because that's what most people do. Let's be honest. Like most people aren't reading every single word on a website or a landing page. Some people do, but the majority of people really don't. And I've seen this with my own products. Most people just skim through it. And I know I skim through it a lot of the time. Everyone's crazy busy. Everyone's so busy. You've got like, a couple of seconds to make an impression. I think the stats is like 3 or 4 seconds to make an impression on a website. And if they don't, people just bounce. People just leave, right? And that could be a potential customer that you've just lost. Yeah, simplifying landing pages is so important, and also asking other people to review it, especially people that might not be as technical or might not be, in what you do. That's super cool as well, because then you get a different perspective. And again, like if they can understand it and they don't do what you do as a job, then that's a pretty good sign, right? Like if it's very, very clear to them, and again, like it's the words you use, it's how you lay it out, it's how you explain it. But honestly, a lot of the time it's just using simpler words you know, using clearer words, you know, not sort of overcomplicating it and trying to get fancy smancy and, you know, advanced with everything and trying to say, oh, this is the cutting edge tech advanced thing XYZ. You know, it's just basically, this is coaching, this is a community that does this, you know, and just be very, very clear on the outcome. And that's something that I've struggled with, honestly, because obviously we all have, entrepreneurs, like, so many ideas in our head, you know, founders, so many ideas in our head about businesses, about offers, about all these things you could do. And then obviously when you come to make something, you kind of like sometimes try and shoehorn a little bit, like all these things into something. And the other part of it is not just you, is like the customer. So if you have different customers who might have slightly different needs, which a lot of customers, like, you know, have different businesses, different size businesses, like different needs. And then you try and say, I'm just going to keep everyone happy. And that never works out, because then you end up shoehorning all these different like features into one product. And then it kind of strays away, you know, like you start on this path and then it kind of strays away. And you end up like just making a product which you're trying to appeal to everybody. And it's like the great saying goes, like, if you're trying to please everybody, you please no one, basically. Because you make it so broad and you make it basically like touching on all these different points. But a lot of the time, that means you're just spreading yourself thin and you're not going into depth with anything, and you're not, you know, really like nailing like one person's problem, right? So that's a common mistake I see. And that's something I've definitely struggled with a lot, is trying to please everybody, trying to make all these different things and trying to, you know, not staying true to my like core mission, you know, not staying true to like exactly what I want to make and what I don't want to make, you know, what my product is and what my product isn't. Yeah. But going back to the iPhone question, that's the fun stuff. That's the business stuff out of the way. But going back to the iPhone question, like, I don't know whether I should get a GoPro or that was how we started talking about overcomplication, really. Because I've always found when I film with a camera, then there's an SD card, and then you've got to take the SD card out, put it in your laptop, and then there's multiple steps there where you could just like get distracted. I found myself just get distracted, and you just don't do it. You just don't end up doing it. And then you film stuff, and I filmed so much stuff, I got so much content, I never end up bloody editing it or doing anything with it. So that's why the phone is so easy, because I can just make this, not edit it, post it to YouTube. It doesn't matter if I say ums and arms, because that was one of the resolutions for me for 2025, was just post raw, authentic content that is just me talking, because I'm sure there's a bunch of people. This is the way I look at it, right? I love this kind of content. This just like day in the life vlog, watching people's stuff, raw, unedited. Just, yeah, like when I'm eating food, you know, maybe I'm alone, maybe I'm feeling a little bit lonely. Like, it's just great. Like, you know, maybe you don't have those people. I feel like this is a big issue. Like I've come up with, and I've heard so many people that have the same issue, where you just don't have the like-minded people. And it's just hard. It is just, the reality of it is, it's hard to find those people who are like-minded. So I'm sure there's a bunch of people watching this who are into the same stuff I'm into. They're interested in the same things I'm interested in. Yeah, like if you feel like there isn't anyone, there definitely is. You just haven't found them. And that's the way I like to look at it. Just stay positive, you know. And yeah, honestly, like I've always found like people aren't going to be attracted to you if you're just negative all the time and you just think, oh, there's nobody for me, like, you know, and you kind of have that negative mindset. So I just try and stay positive with it, because I always think, you know, more opportunities, more people to meet, you know, I'll find more like-minded people. And I've been very fortunate to find so many amazing people in my life, but it definitely took time. And yeah, if I can give you a small slither, a small slice of enjoyment, entertainment with these little videos, then honestly that's super cool, and that makes me really happy. It's also a documentation as well. Documentation is a very strange word. It's like a document my life. That's what I was thinking about. It's like a small document of my life, so I can look back on this on a year or 3 years, because now I'm like 27 and I wish I could look back on these sort of videos from like 21, and all I have is like tiny clips of me filming myself, and like that's it. Like, and I don't really speak to camera, because I used to be so scared of speaking to the camera. And even like only 6 months ago, I would never do this. I would never film out in public speaking to the camera. But honestly, like, it is just a case of a muscle that you train, and the more you train it and the more you do, then literally you can just do more of it, and it becomes way more natural. And of course you still feel nervous a little bit sometimes, but yeah, that's a big consideration when it comes to cameras as well for me, because I'm a total geek with tech. I love my tech. Like, I got the Pro Max iPhone, like I got the latest MacBook, like, yeah, I just absolutely love my tech. I'm totally nerd out and watch all the reviews and everything like that. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that as well. Even though I never seem to find like tech people in real life. Again, I don't know if that's just me or that's just like a normal thing, but I never find people that are like, you know, geeking out on tech stuff in real life. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't had the right conversations yet, but I'm sure I'll find those people eventually. But yeah, I watch a bunch of tech stuff online, bunch of reviews, spend hours like researching. I'm that guy that, you know, when I want to buy something, I have to know every little thing about it, every single little thing, the pros and cons, the different things. And you know, in 2025, all these companies, they've now made like a Lite, a Mini, a Pro Max, an Ultra of every single product you want to buy. So that just makes the research stage like so much longer, which, you know, I'm not complaining because I kind of like that. I kind of like, you know, geeking out and reading all the reviews and everything like that. That's what I find with big cameras, guys. So big cameras, like, you know, it sort of stops you from taking it around because, you know, you can't fit in your pocket and all this stuff. So yes, it's nice to vlog with a big camera because you can flip out the screen. And I've used a lot of cameras like that in the past, but really, you know, for YouTube, do you need that quality? It's nice, don't get me wrong. And it's nice to like color grade and everything. But again, to me, at the moment, it's just more steps. It's just more steps where I can fall down. It's more like, I just look at it as like more complication steps. It's not a great way to name it, but that's the way I think about it. More steps of complication, you know, and every step you add to the process is another step that you could fall down on. And that's not me trying to be negative. That's just me trying to be real and just reality, you know? And I think what people don't understand a lot of the time, and I definitely didn't understand this, and now I know it and I want to share it with you, is that a lot of the people you watch have a content team behind the scenes. And that's what's crazy about the whole thing. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, like if you want to scale your content, if you want to grow, like a content team is, I've seen it work really well for a lot of people, to hire people, editors, script writers, you know, people to film you, you know, invest in equipment, all this sort of thing. But if you're just starting out and if you're just, you know, iPhone cameras are so good nowadays, you know, everyone says that, but that's just a real thing to actually consider. And if you ever find yourself comparison is the thief of joy, but if you ever find yourself comparing yourself to other people, to people that you see filming and you're thinking, hey, they're putting out like 10 videos a week, they probably have an editor, to be honest. So, you know, cut yourself some slack and think about how, you know, they probably started out just like where you are, you know, just like where I am, like, you know, editing my own videos or not even editing at all, because again, that's just like a step for me to fall down on. So I would just rather unedit it and, you know, listen, basically, I just think of it as if I get the content out there, then that's the main thing, you know, like even if it's got arms, R's, like all this stuff, the main thing is actually getting the content out of there.